Okay, folks, good evening. Not too many here, something to do with the weather, but that's fine. We are going to start with the reorganization meeting, then we will go into our regular meeting, so we'll just dive right into reorganization. This is a meeting whereby we do the annual appointments and pick up our annual procedures. Does anybody, the very first item, does anybody wish to make a motion on the banks?
I'll make it, and just to let Randy know what we usually do, Randy, so that not one of us has to do all the motions, is we just take turns. I'll start off, and then Art, we just keep going around in circles. Okay. So I'll do the first one, to designate M&T, First Niagara Chase as depository for the town of Wheatfield for 2014.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Gil. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. Art?
Make a motion to designate Robert Cliff, Gil Doucette, Larry Howard as authorized signers for payments by check. 2 signatures are required for payments in excess of $2,000.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Randy. Anything on the question? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. I'll move that we designate Niagara Gazette and Niagara Wheatfield Tribune as the official newspapers for the town of Wheatfield for 2014. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Larry. Anything on that question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
I'll make a motion that the regular meeting of the town board be held as per the attached schedule at 7:30 p.m. unless otherwise specified.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anything on the question? Just speaking very briefly for the papers, it's an odd schedule. It's based because we're working around a whole lot of holidays that happen on Mondays, and we meet on Mondays. So if you would make sure that you're aware of when those dates are. They're odd dates. We'll try to have it up on our website if you ever have any questions. Okay, moved and seconded. Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Arlene Manny and Lois Kaczynski as senior citizen leaders at an hourly rate as per the attached list.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Randy. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Councilman Larry Howard as deputy supervisor for 2014.
I'll go ahead and second. Moved and seconded. Anything on that question? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
I move to impose upon the supervisor powers and duties of administration and supervision of the town or special improvement district functions to be performed on behalf of the town, on behalf of the board for 2014.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's approved. I'll move that elected and appointed officials with the noted exceptions, supervisor, highway superintendent, water superintendent, assessor, rec director, building inspector, sewer foreman, town clerk, town justice, town prosecutor, and town attorney, be paid quarterly. Basically, all of the appointed positions, the lower paying part-time positions, are paid on a quarterly basis. Those who are here more often, paid more, would get the greater sum, would get the more often payment. Don't have a second yet. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Larry. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. Randy?
I make a motion to appoint Robert Liederstorff as a Democratic voting machine custodian for 2014.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Art. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Now, I got a question.
Yes?
So we had another list that's got some other motions. Some of them were taken off, I assume, like prevailing time and some of
That was on the advice of the attorney.
Okay. I'm on the right list now.
Okay. I think we're at Gil.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Bill Bessinger as a Republican voting machine custodian for 2014.
I'll second. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. Larry?
I'll make a motion to appoint, Patty Weiss and Mary Jane, Ziomek as voting machine inspectors for 2014.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anything on that question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Make a motion that the town officials are compensated at the rate of 50 cents per mile for all itemized official travel using their personal vehicles during 2014.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Larry. Anything on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That's approved. I'll move that elected officials be reimbursed for stationary postage, telephone calls, and miscellaneous expenses when used for personal purposes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Gill. Moved and seconded. Anything on that question? And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
I'll make a motion that during the calendar year 2014, the town, according to section 519 and 521 of the judiciary law, shall not make deductions from an employee's wages during the first 3 days of jury service, and that thereafter. A deduction of $40 per day will be made.
There was a change in section 521 of the judiciary law to increase the amount to $40, so that's why the change.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Art. Anything further on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint the following liaisons to the departments as per the attached list. Assessor Payroll Department, Larry Howard. Building Department, Gil Doucette, Art Gerbeck. Budget Director, Bob Cliff. Computer Systems, Larry Helwig. Comprehensive Planning Task Force, Art Gerbeck. Constable Department, Gil Doucette. Drainage, Randy Retzlaff. Economic Development, Bob Cliff and Larry Helwig. Farmers Focus Group, Randy Retzlaff. Highway Department, Randy Retzlaff and Larry Helwig. Greenway Trail, River Road, Larry Helwig. Justice Court, Bob O'Toole. Recreation Department, Art Gerbeck, Gil Doucette. Safety Committee, Gil Doucette. Town Attorney, Gil Doucette. Town Clerk, Gil Doucette. Water Sewer, Art Gerbeck, Gil Doucette. Veterans Committee, Art Gerbeck.
Aren't you glad you retired, Gil? Okay, okay, moved and seconded. There is room for discussion. If anybody doesn't want any of those positions or feel they should be added, this is the time. If not, then all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That is approved.
I think the next motion here is establish a fee of $35 a day for use of buildings for polling places other than public schools and municipal buildings.
No.
That was
Oh,
one of
that
the
was
ones
taken
pulled.
off?
This one here. Get rid of that. Get rid of that list.
This one doesn't, okay. This other was on the right one.
Okay, we're right after the liaisons.
Okay, that the bonding of the town clerk / receiver of taxes for the total tax roll be approved and set at $250,000.
I'll second that one.
Okay, moved by Larry, second by Art. Anything on the question? Now, is that a statutory amount, or is that just a number we picked out of the air?
We
know,
did have some discussion. I don't think it's statutory, but I do think we did have some. I remember having fairly extensive discussion as to the amount at a couple of years ago.
Wasn't there something, because Kathy's also collecting the money by the county, that there's some statutory amount we needed for the county's purposes? Too many years ago.
I think this came from, the insurance company.
That's where I think too.
Okay. All right. Anything further on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. Art?
Make a motion that the required bonding of other elected official and employees as deemed necessary be approved.
I'll go ahead and second that. All in in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. Phew. Maybe I best not make this one. Randy?
I'll make a motion authorizing the supervisor to invest funds as feasible with the stipulation that a financial report be submitted to each board member after each investment, and also a budget status report on a monthly basis. Additionally, town board members shall receive monthly financial status reports of all accounts and investments, including itemized monthly statements.
Second.
Okay, anything on the question? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain on that. That'll be 4-0. Gil? Gil?
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that the following individuals be appointed to have the power and authority as constables, as set forth in town law, with Robin Zastro appointed as head constable and Robert Connery deputy to the head constable. The following list is Robert Connery, Earl Meacham, John Doucette, Craig Schultz, Kenneth Johnson, Jerome Sperazza, Mark Kasperzak, Eric Weber, Brian Croning, and Robin Zastro.
Do we have a second?
Second the motion.
Second by Art. Moved and seconded. Anything on the question?
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
thought we had 10. Now, if you count,
We do.
I see Zastro's, and then there's 8, and then Connery's listed in the list. Where do we get
You got 5 on each side.
1, 2, 3, 4? Where you? Do I have an old list?
1, 2, 3, 4,
There's
5.
about 10
1,
votes.
2, 3.
There are 10.
I handed one out.
Okay.
Give me everything you got. Come on, throw it out.
I don't have that list.
Here, take that.
Give me the other one.
I have one that looks like it.
There's been 3 since I showed up tonight. So.
Okay. I must got
Okay.
here too early.
Turn the page.
Yeah, there are 10 on the list. It's the 10 that are currently constables. Robin's recommendation was to not add any this year.
I'm all set.
Okay, anything further on the question? If not, then all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That's approved.
I move to appoint Kathleen Harrington McDonald as Register of Vital Statistics. The term shall expire December 31, 2014, at a salary of $1,074.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Make
Art?
a motion to appoint Wendell Dushire as the town engineers for the year 2014, per their annual contract.
Yeah.
Correct?
Mine says 12, so I'll have to correct
I
that to
know I made
14.
the correction.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Larry? Moved and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That is approved. I'll move we also appoint Wendell Dushire as consultant to the planning board, and this does authorize me to sign a contract for this service.
I'll second that motion.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Make a motion to appoint Walter Bissett as town historian at the annual salary as set per the attached list.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
You wanna do this one, Bob, or you want me to?
I'll go ahead. I'll move to appoint Ed Mongold as budget director at a salary on the attached list, and I'm very, very happy and pleased to do so.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
I'll make a motion to appoint Don Wallace as Information Security Officer and Larry Howig as Chief Information Officer for the term ending December 31st, 2014.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Randy? Moved and seconded. These are new positions. Basically, they're no-pay positions, but it is to formalize our now formal policy on computers. That Larry is indeed in charge of the computer systems, and Don Wallace is the person that employees will go to for help. Okay, anything further on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That's approved. Larry?
I move to appoint Ken Retzloff to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 5-year term ending December 31st, 2018.
I'll second. Anything further on the question? If not, then all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Make a motion to appoint Terry McIntyre as chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the year 2014.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. I'll move to appoint Rich Muscatello as the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board, term to expire on December 31st, 2014, a 1-year term. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Larry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
I'll make a motion to appoint Doug Gunther as bingo inspector at an annual salary as set per attached list. Said term to expire December 31st, 2014.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Greg Martin as Deputy Highway Superintendent for the year 2014.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Randy. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
I move to set the salary of the Recreation Director as per the attached list for 2014.
Seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
Make a motion. Do you want me to really read these off? The
Well,
salaries?
I think there's a correction.
Yeah, we need to correct 2 of the numbers.
If
How
you-
about I put on there per attached list? We made the corrections to the minutes? Which 2 had to be corrected?
If you want, I'll read it. I'll make a motion that the salaries of the elected town officials are fixed and established in the town budget for 2014 as follows. And Robert Cliff Supervisor, $37,324. Larry Helwig Deputy Supervisor, $17,232. Kathleen Harrington McDonald Town Clerk, $61,280. John Mateo and Aaron DeLabio Town Justices at $23,947. Art Gerbeck, Randy Retzloff, Gilbert Doucette as councilman at $13,630, and Arthur Croning, Highway Superintendent, for $65,100.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Art. Moved and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved.
Make a motion to appoint Kelly Breeze and Kathleen Donner as court clerks for Justice Mateo and Justice DeLabio as salary as per attached list.
Second.
Second by Gill. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. I'll move to appoint Judy Blake and Lois Stolting as court officers as directed by the Justices Matteo and DeLabio at an hourly rate as per the attached list. This is a 1-year term ending on December 31st, 2014. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Art. Anything on the question?
Just on the question, they still have one vacancy that they're going to start interviewing or advertising for?
Yes, we've had some discussions with Town Justice on that.
Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope, that's approved.
I'll make a motion to adopt pay schedules for hourly employees as per the attached list.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Robert O'Toole as Town Attorney for 2014 at an annual salary as per the attached list, excluding special district matters.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Second for Randy. Bob, can you explain the difference with the special district matters?
That's actually historical. There hasn't been any charges for special district matters in 20 years. I guess we could take it out.
Okay, I guess that's up to, Gil. Do you wish to take out that line?
Do you want it taken out, Bob?
Yeah, I think we could take
It's
it out.
acceptable,
Yeah.
take it out.
Okay, Randy, you seconded. Do you wish to take that out?
Yes.
Okay, now we're dealing with the statement, Bob O'Toole for an annual salary as per the attached list, period. Anything further on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved.
Thank you.
I move to appoint Matthew Brooks and David Heim as attorneys for matters properly brought before the town justice courts, which call for the services of a special prosecutor and other matters assigned to him or her, actually him, by the town board, and to be compensated at a rate per the attached list.
I'll second. Anything on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. Art?
I'm sorry. Make a motion to appoint, Raymond Cameron as plumbing inspector for the town of Wheatfield at a rate as set per attached list. His term is to expire December 31st, 2014.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Gil. Anything on that question?
His name may be spelled wrong there. It's probably 2 N's instead of 2 A's.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
According to
no,
this
Is it
page.
A-N? A-N-N?
M-A-N-N.
Oh, well, okay. Subject to correction in the morning. Anything further on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. I move to appoint Chet Colada as a member of the plumbing board with the rate of pay at $35 per meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Randy. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? That's approved.
Make a motion to appoint Joe Malloy and Al Nelson as electrical inspectors at a rate as per the attached list. Term to expire December 31st, 2014.
Second.
Second by Gil. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? That's approved.
Make a motion to appoint Judy Bugenhagen as ceramic instructor at a rate as per the attached list. Term to expire December 31st, 2014.
Do we have-
Second.
Second by Larry. Anything on that question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Move to appoint Supervisor Cliff as minority business officer. Was made, appoint him as minority business officer.
That's a mistake. I think if you just put a period after officer, Larry, that'll probably work.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
You have to pass that down to somebody. Read the next one.
Okay, I'll make the motion to appoint Councilman Gerbeck as Town Board Representative to the Fire Advisory Board with the following members of the fire companies represented. Adams would be Don Lauer and Scott Liedersdorf. Burkholz would be Mark Stevens and Keith Potter. Frontier would be Bruce Mack and Rich Silveroli. St. Johnsburg would be Gary Zymek and Mike Skeevy. Shawnee would be Mark Kasperzak and Fred Lawrence.
Second.
Second by Larry. Moved and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any
I guess I
opposed?
abstain.
Okay, 4-0 and 1 abstention. Okay, Randy?
I'll make a motion to appoint Councilman Gerbeck as chairman to the Town of Wheatfield Comprehensive Planning Committee for the year 2014.
I'll go ahead and second that.
On the question,
Go ahead.
really should be Richard Muscatello. I am the liaison to the,
No, I think you're actually the chair.
why, what did I do?
And
The only way we can
Richard is the facilitator.
Richard is the facilitator
Yes.
term? Oh, is that his, okay. All right, I just didn't wanna rustle any feathers.
Okay.
I stand corrected.
Anything further on the question? Then all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Abstain.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize supervisor to prepay the utility bills, insurance payments, phone bills, and postage as required.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anything on that question? Is there anything else we should add to that? Is there anything else that makes sense to be prepaid? It's pretty statutory, Ed, right? We can't really add anything?
Yeah, it's our limit.
Pizza bills.
But even bonding payments and stuff like that, we can't?
Pretty much listed.
Okay. Then if nothing further, then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
Now, this next motion's in here twice. Is the second one not needed then?
Yeah.
A lot of this happened very quickly just before.
I'll make a motion to authorize the occasional services of wild critters of Niagara County for assistance with wild animal control.
Second.
Seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. Is it my turn?
Make a motion to authorize the, holy smokes, two of them, both of those.
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna,
Okay,
these
yeah,
two we're just
so
gonna kill, we'll go
skip
right
these
to
two,
David Muir.
okay. Make a motion to authorize the occasional services of David Muir as licensed nuisance wildlife control officer for the year 2014.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Gil. The purpose of this is when it is necessary to move, or if necessary, euthanize a skunk or skunks or other wildlife, we have to have a place to go. I sent out letters to, I think, 5 of the NWCO's, people who are lawfully assigned to be able to do this business. And Dave Muir was the only one that came back and said he's ready to do it. One is retiring and not healthy enough to do it. But this would only be for those times when we need it. Wild critters is still the best way to go. Simply killing a skunk or moving it somewhere else doesn't stop the problem. If you don't get rid of the food source, they'll just come back. It'll just be another one soon. But we do want to have the availability of the service if needed. Anything further on the question? If not, then all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That is approved. Well, hang on just a sec.
Hey, Bob.
Oh, he will? Okay. Good.
Go ahead and make the motion to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Greg Martin as chairman of the Drainage Committee for the year 2014.
Second. Okay, and that is without pay, correct, Gil?
Yes.
Without additional pay, I should say.
Just said he needs Art's assistance a little bit.
That's right. Moved and seconded. Anything further on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That's approved, and we thank Greg a great deal for taking over. It's a difficult position. It takes up an awful lot of time. And Greg is the right person and best person for that job. Is there any further business that we need on the reorg?
Just one point for maybe recreation mainly is the minimum wage went up to $8, I believe. And what's the effective date of that, Bob?
January 1st. Actually, I have a motion
For the regular.
for the regular meeting to
Okay,
approve the new wage scale.
okay.
Anything further? Any other business we need to do on reorg? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Art. Do we have a
Second.
second? Second by Larry. All in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Are you ready to go right in? Okay. Does anybody need a break before we go right into the regular meeting? One meeting is closed. We'll go right on into the regular meeting, and as always, we'll start with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we pray Thee to grant wisdom to all who are in authority, that order and justice may be upheld to the benefit of all citizens, and guide us to better serve the people of our community. Restrain those who seek to destroy our government. We ask Your divine wisdom to rest upon our leaders, to guide them and protect them. Amen.
Okay. This is the time for public input. There's not a whole lot of public here, but is there anybody who wishes to speak? This is your opportunity to be heard on any subject before the town. Okay. If nobody wishes to speak, then we'll move on. Kathy, for the record, all board members are present. We do have two sets of minutes. There's a minutes from December 23rd. We also have minutes from December 16th. Does anybody wish to move either or both of these in for approval?
So moved.
One, the other, or both, Gil?
For both.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there anything on the question, anything that has to be changed? If not, then all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I abstain.
One abstention. Okay. We have a bill payment, somewhat small. These would be for voucher numbers 2013-2541 through 2013-2641. The total dollars are $176,540.26. Does anybody wish to move these in for payment?
So moved.
Moved by Art. Do we have a second? Second by Larry. Anything on the question? Any bills you wish to hold? If not, then all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we'll go ahead and get those started. Art, anything going on in highway? A little bit slippery out there, is it?
I did get a little scared this morning. I got a call from a person on Railroads telling me to plow the Hall Road, and I better get over and bring the pumps over. I quickly went over there, and the road was dry as could be. So.
Well, that's good news.
I assume most of you haven't had any sleep. Most of your crew hasn't had any sleep in the last day or two. Could be interesting. Anything for Art? Okay, Rich? You guys been out late as well? I do have something for you. If we had to call an emergency and leave the community center open tonight, would your, what's the term, would your generator, standby generator, be able to power that building enough to keep it warm?
As far as I know, yes. Personally, I've never brought it over and hooked it up and tried it.
Do we have a way to hook it up? Would it be,
There's a plug on the outside of the building, there's a plug
so you do have the way to do it?
itself that was put in when the building was built, yes.
Okay. And you think you have enough to be able to put some light and enough heat? I assume you're not gonna be able to, I assume you're not gonna do the warming ovens with a generator?
Well, the boiler system over there is hooked into the generator.
Just the pumps. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else for Rich? Okay. Mike Rinaldi, anything going on in rec?
Not too much, just kinda happy that Mother Nature was kind to us over the weekend. We had a good Saturday with the seniors. We had 140 people for the dance,
It was nice.
so it kinda got sandwiched in between all these bunch of other competitions. So that was really cool to finally actually get this one in. We got a couple of camps coming up, one in February, like, and then one at the end of the month, Martin Luther Day. Martin Luther King Day pants, kinda similar to our Veterans Day pants. I'll give more info at the next meeting.
Okay.
How did the Christmas one go, Mike?
Good. We didn't have, big turnouts like right around Christmas and stuff, but Eve, Christmas kinda, the excitement of that went away, the last week. We had like over 20 kids the last couple of weeks.
Anything else for Mike? Thank you, Mike. Mike Clark's not here, right? Bridget? How many people have called up complaining about taxes because they forgot to do their star exemption?
It'll hit in September, when they do their school tax benefit.
Oh, it's not hitting yet? Okay, Greg's not here. Arlene Manty, the last word I had was that Arlene was being moved today back into rehab. She has been back in the hospital. She needs some work at rehab. I don't have a room number. I believe she's going to Northgate for that. And Wendell tonight is represented by Tim Walk. Good to see you back, Tim. Anything going on?
Thanks. Yeah, Tim apologizes. He had to turn around to the White House in Denver. There was nothing on Tim's agenda. I think there was a couple things he just wanted to update the board on. The first is Richard Muscatello received a report from Niagara County for 2 intersections on Lockport Road that they plan on redoing. The Lockport and Walmore Road North leg and Lockport and Ward intersections. We reviewed those reports. We don't have any comments. The plans look decent. I know the Lockport and Walmore North leg, we had looked at putting a light there years ago. We put one at the south leg. The north leg was a little trickier because of that viaduct there and giving people warning. So they're planning on adding a light, putting a right-hand turn lane on Walmore, and then restriping Lockport Road to direct the traffic a little better. And then Ward Road, they're adding turning lanes in the north and southbound directions.
Yeah, Ward Road's gonna significantly impact that one house. It's gonna be bringing the road right next to the one house, right?
And yeah, they're actually widening, as best I could tell by the plans, they're widening to the west. So they're kind of offsetting, they're not really offsetting the intersection, but the intersection is gonna get widened west.
But in the Lockport Road side, next to the one woman's house, they were moving closer to her house, if I read it correctly. I'm not an expert.
Yeah, it could be, Bob. It looked like it would fit. It might be getting closer. So, for those intersections, both, because I use them frequently, to do some improvement. So that was and they're planning on letting that bid in September of this year. So you're not going to see construction start till, maybe the end of this year, and I'm sure it'll go into 2015. The other thing is that we are looking at different alternatives for the southern drainage. The key thing, the most important thing right now is getting the southern drainage system cameras and TV to see if we have blockages anywhere. We have suspected blockages in at least one location, at least partial blockages, not full ones. And so we have plans out and are waiting for quotes back from 4 or 5 companies. We're going to have to do this in 2 steps, get everything cameraed and TV'd, and then once we know what's going on, then figure out what we need to do as far as cleaning. Their preliminary quote for cleaning is on the order of like $20 a foot, and if you were going to clean it all, it would be upwards of like $100,000. I don't expect that everything is going to have to be cleaned. So once we get the video results, we need to review those and then decide whether it's small enough that we can just do it with 3 quotes or whether it's large enough that it's got to go with a public bid. I think, is that 30 or 35,000 now?
35. Public Works is 35.
So that'll be a 2-step thing. In addition to that, there's some ideas that Art has and that Bob has that we're looking at. We've talked before about putting a head wall and a flat gate on the outlet from Willow Lake so that the flow can't back up. We're going to do some just preliminary design and cost estimating on that, as well as Art's looking at a pump, and we need to figure out the best way to get suctions and discharges set up for a pump to make it easy to hook up, as well as potential gravity overflows, similar to what we had done in Eagle Chase. So we're basically working on those different kind of high-level cost estimates for the board to consider. But again, the first step will be to see what we have as far as blockages in the southern drainage itself. We're estimating that we're probably going to spend with getting quotes on the cammering and reviewing those results, as well as doing preliminary design, probably $9,000 to $11,000, something in there. We'll just do it under our time and expense engineer authorization, but since it's over $1,500, we're notifying the board of that to see if the board is okay with us proceeding with that.
It's difficult to proceed without having a little bit more hard number. Is that something, not gonna get any work done anyway, can't that wait until the next meeting, January 27th?
We can, I mean, we're proceeding with the quotes on the cleaning, but that's a minor part of it that we can just keep going on. I mean, part of this is not knowing exactly what it's gonna take, you know, as we look at things. So that's why it's gonna be a range. We can look to see if we can tie it down tighter, but again, it's probably a $9,000 to $10,000, $9,000 to $11,000. But we can look to see if we can tie it down tighter.
Okay, what is the pleasure of the board members? Does anybody wish to make a motion to approve a $9,000 to $11,000 number for studying the Wilrose Court / Southern Drainage Project? Or do we wish to wait until we get that tighter? Anybody want to make that motion, or do we wish to wait? Why don't we hold off until January 27th, where we can have a little bit better number, something a little more formal? Certainly we could talk about it. Wednesday night, there's going to be a meeting right here in this room. Unfortunately, it happens to go on at the same time as a planning board meeting, but it's a very significant problem, and a whole lot of folks from Wilrose Court and Crescent want to be here. So we're going to have our drainage meeting here at this location on Wednesday night, where they can participate. We probably won't be doing much other than just Wilrose Court that night, but we'll have to decide that on the fly.
That's all I have, unless the board has questions for us.
Okay. Personally, Tim, I want to say thank you very much. Certainly Art broke his back as well. Greg Martin was out there when we had that storm. If I recall, you twice walked virtually the entire length, 3-mile length of that ditch, trying to find problems, and eventually did find a problem and found a solution to the problem that was there. Our equipment wasn't good enough to break it. We had to bring somebody in to do that, and that was done. I think you did an exceptional job for the town, at least both of those days. And if I'm not too far mistaken, Rich, you were out there that Monday night until 11 o'clock also, right? 2 days before Christmas.
Art and I asked Rich we called him at, I think, 9:30, and he, I think, came from wherever he was. He wasn't home, and came out there, and so Rich was a big part, and Paul Sigmund walked that ditch with me on Sunday as well. And Art was picking us up and driving us around, so there was a lot of people helping out.
I don't know how well known it is, but when we had the problem, you guys really stepped up and made a big difference for the people on Wilrose Court. So
Rich was able to break through part of the blockage. I think it helped some. So.
Yeah, up until that point, that water just wasn't going down at all. It actually seemed to still be going up. And then by the next morning, it was down significantly. And then once, who was it? The drain doctor. Once the drain doctor got in there and cleaned out the last blockage, that water went down fairly quickly.
Do they know what was blocked when the drain doctor did it?
They pulled out a sandbag and a 2x6, but we don't know. When Rich first plowed through it, Rich and Art, what was it, Monday night? I mean, once you plowed through that, there was a lot of suction. I mean, it wanted to suck a shovel in. I mean, it could have sucked dirt, you know, once you got through once, it could have sucked stuff down. Just hard to tell. I couldn't see anything. You were going by feel.
Well, we're lucky to have all of you guys, especially in that instance, so thank you. Bob, we'll move on to regular motions.
All right, the, first motion is to schedule a public hearing for January 27th at 7 PM to discuss proposed revision to the town code relating to policy and procedure for the procurement of goods and services.
I'll go ahead and make that motion. Second by Art. This is basically formalizing what we have already been doing for the last 4 years. We made some changes in purchasing 4 years ago. Everybody's been following it pretty well, and we're just formalizing it. So we found out we never did put it into town code. So we're basically putting it into town code, what we have been doing.
It's in the town code. We have to update it, though.
Anything further on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
All right, next motion, I'm going to modify it a bit because the first paragraph in the municipal solution letter was actually incorrect. This would be motion to approve a contract with Municipal Solutions for financial advisory services related to serial bonds and bond anticipation notes for 2014.
Do we have somebody to move that?
I'll move it.
Moved by Larry. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Gil. Anything on the question? Municipal Solutions has been our supplier of advice for several years. They do a pretty good job of keeping us up to speed and helping Ed to make sure that we don't miss a bond payment, do things the right way. Anything further on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
And as Larry mentioned, the minimum wage has gone up 75 cents an hour, so we need to approve the updated summer seasonal wage scale effective January 1st, 2014.
I'll second that.
Moved by Art, second by Randy. Anything on the question?
Gail, I saw the other day, was it for?
Oh, yes, I gotta add another, we'll add a fifth year by just following it out. I haven't done that yet, but yes.
And then is there a notation that if someone in college, in 5 years, that they get the annual wage adjustment, whatever the town employees get, whether it's 2%?
Yeah, it's below, it's on the bottom of the chart, but part of it got cut off.
Okay, moved and seconded. Anything further on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That is approved. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, next motion is to approve the updated department head wage scale. Actually, Councilman Helwig fixed up the chart to include all compensation in the chart, which makes it makes a lot more sense. So everything is in the chart now.
We had a few department heads, they were getting stipends, and eliminates the stipend, we get included in their salary, so now their base salary is their salary, we don't have to mention the word stipend anymore. Everybody's salary was adjusted, and now going forward, everything should, next year's will work okay, because we don't have a stipend bill work.
Larry, is that your motion?
Yes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Gil. Anything further on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
Last motion is housekeeping to appoint Kelly Burkholder and Kara Incorvia as lifeguards.
I'll move. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Randy. Anything on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? I only heard 2 ayes, guys. Do we have other ayes? Aye. Okay. That's approved. Is that it for motions?
That's it.
Okay, then we'll move on to board member items. Larry, anything?
Nothing tonight.
Gil?
From Shawnee Fire Hall, they'd like to remove John Rogers from their active membership. And I'll make that motion.
Okay. Do we have a second? Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. Anything else, Gil?
That's it.
Art?
Nothing, no report.
Randy?
I have nothing.
If I can find it in my pile, I do have one thing. We've had some discussion with our attorney, we've had some discussion with our budget director. I would like to have the privilege of bringing the fire contract checks out to the fire companies at their installation dinners. I think it's sort of a nice practice to get going on. One of the problems that's brought up by our budget director is that if we do that, we will actually be losing some interest. 0.001 per year. You gotta divide that by 12. 0.0008 or something per month.
What's that, 37 cents?
It's a little more, it might be into the hundreds of dollars, but it's also money that the fire companies need and beneficial, and I think it's just it would be a nice practice to get going on. So I am asking, actually, I'll make the motion to approve a voucher for St. Johnsburg for $205,430, and also for Shawnee for the same amount of money. We can approve them tonight, and then they would be paid out on the 11th and 18th respectively.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Anything further on the question? Is there anything further, Ed? I know you had brought out a couple of points. That was your primary one, is we could be accused of losing a few cents of interest. If nothing further on the question, then all in favor
Some of them don't have, installation dinners annually.
Right. The contract calls for no later than April 1st. It would be paid no later, but obviously I'd pay at the same time as whatever the last one is. But we have to approve them individually anyway, so.
Okay.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. Don't tell the fire companies. Okay. That's all I have. We'll go back to, well, before we do public input, we'll go back to our next meeting, January 27th. Again, because the schedule is odd, trying to make it so we never have any more than 3 weeks between meetings. So the schedule's gonna be a little strange, so we'll do January 27th. I don't think there's any preliminaries.
Yes,
There's actually two.
And what is?
There's a public hearing, we did the motion.
Okay, so we have a public hearing at 7 o'clock.
There's also a public hearing on at 7:15, and I think that's on the PUD, I think that's on the PUD density
Okay.
proposal.
Okay, so January 27th, we have a meeting starting at 7 o'clock for a public hearing, a second public hearing at 7:15,
Yeah, that's the 7:15 is the PUD zoning.
and the regular meeting at 7:30, give or take. So that will take us to public input. Again, this is your opportunity to speak on any subject. Richard?
Is there going to be a January 15th work session?
We scheduled it. Randy, you had that on your schedule, right?
The Mulberry.
I don't know if anybody ever, I actually sent Bob a note today to find out if anybody ever contacted Mulberry to see if they were going to be here for sure. Nothing's coming back to me yet to say for sure. You're meeting with them tomorrow night, right?
No.
It's just your discussion on Mulberry? It was on, there was a note on Debbie's agenda having to do with that. For discussion.
As a discussion.
All right.
Wait a minute. I know what he's talking about. I added that, and that was in preparation so that we could work with the town board and get the planning board's input into the
Yeah,
decision of whether or not.
I was trying to remember and I couldn't find. I think I sent a note out to the board, but it's going way back to, before Christmas anyway, right around the last meeting before Christmas, saying that we will probably be meeting, and I don't think anybody ever got back to me from Mulberry, so I never actually said we will be meeting.
Well, for what it's worth, I think board might benefit from the planning board's input,
Okay, so you're planning on being here next Monday night?
the 13th.
Okay, I'll be here next Monday night. What
Okay.
time?
November 30th, 7:30, 7:30.
7:30 Monday night. Okay, I'll be here 7:30 Monday night. And other board members, if you can be here, great. The question there has to do with whether or not the board is likely to rezone, or at least would take a serious look at rezoning for a PUD off Ward Road in that, Mulberry development, correct?
Right, which is reasonable there for me.
Okay, let's make sure that they're,
I'll call Fred.
if he's not gonna be here and his engineer's not gonna be here, it doesn't do much good. Do you have enough prints to bring with you that we can see it, the latest? Rich, or should we get that from downstairs?
Okay, I'll call, can you call tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I'll call Fred and tell him he needs to bring some prints too.
Do you have, in the planning board, you have prints enough to be able to show us what's there?
I have one, and I'll make copies.
As long as we can see what it looks like. And this is just a work session, not a public meeting. Then we'll see you then.